Hey, what's up? You are tuned in and back at the Bougie AF channel with your host, Suge Avery. I just got to the place in life I was just like, I don't know. I'm just bougie. Now let's get into the show.
Hey, what's up? You're tuning into my channel, Bougie AF, and this is your host, Miss Suge Avery. And if this is your first time on my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, I'm just sitting here recording some stuff, and so it sucks because the other day I forgot to put out a video that I did because I forgot that it was on my computer. But I'm going to put it out, and I'm going to put the date in parentheses so people can know when I recorded it. But I'm here because this is my first video. I feel like this is like our New Year's in 2020, right? Feel like we're going into the 2021 real strong. The Dems just won the election. That's why I'm doing this video, just to congratulate Kamala and Joe Biden on their immaculate win. Just really beating the shit out of Donald Trump, right? So just like really hammering, like just really just like showing that the American people have been watching. They have taken notice, right? I think it was just hard. I mean, today is what, Tuesday? I think, let me see. Let me double check. Oh, today's Wednesday, November 11th. So it was let me see. So yesterday was the 10th. Monday was the 9th, 8th, 7th. So November 7th. November 7th, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris he was announced as president-elect. And of course that makes Kamala Harris the first African-American vice president. And I'm super, 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 super excited, happy for that. And it was great. Like, it did feel like a calm. It did feel like people felt a sigh of relief when it happened, right? So I'm extremely happy about that. But it was just like, it's been a lot going on. So we're about to go on a little excursion and just really, I have made a list of some things that I wanted to go about this election that I feel like I wanted to talk about. First thing first, I remember Tuesday night happening and just feeling like, oh my God. Oh my God, because the first night, Tuesday, was all the actual in-person votes that were coming in. So it was like everyone who went to the poll box, who went to the polls, their votes, right? Or any of the ballots that came in that day have been counted already, right? So all those votes were coming in. There were certain states that weren't allowed to start counting their ballots until the day of the election, right? So we're talking in some states I'm talking about, I think Philadelphia, at one point in time, they still had like 300, 600,000 votes, mail-in votes to go through and stuff like that. So, it was an ordeal. So Tuesday night was like, you went to bed like with Trump leading. So you were just like, no, not again, not again. Because I just remember in 2016, I went to sleep. And I think he was up. I'm not sure, but I just like went to sleep. It was like, oh, it ain't over. There's so much to come, and then to wake up and watch the Adam families on the stage, I was just like, that's how I felt. Like, watching Ivanka walk that stage it was just hard. Sorry, it was disgusting in 2016. Like, my heart was like in my stomach, disgusting. So in 2020, when we finally have this happen, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. So we have all these ballots. So Tuesday, you just didn't know he was up. Trump was up. So Wednesday comes in, you have everyone coming on the TV. You have Angela, right? You have Van Jones. You just have everybody just like, calm down, y'all. We're just getting to the ballots. We're getting to the mail-in votes. We still got it. We think we're going to pull this out. I mean, I didn't think so. Like, I just didn't think so. And it just started happening. One state at a time, the more and more we started getting large number of ballots coming in, the more and more it was turning. And you was just like, what's happening? Is someone playing a cruel trick on me? Like, that's how I felt. Like, I felt like someone was playing a trick on me. Like, I literally felt like ultimately, like, I remember seeing them watching states go. I remember Wisconsin was first, and then they got Michigan. And I was just like, what? Like, I just thought it wasn't real. I just thought it wasn't real. I just thought it wasn't happening. I just thought, and it's so hard because of COVID. I just think we haven't had a lot of like town halls and stuff on like the news and stuff like that. A lot of people opinions because everyone is social distancing and not out as much. So we haven't had a lot of that. Not a lot of focus groups. I remember there was a lot of town halls. A lot of different type of focus groups were being asked questions. So you had a sense of like where people were. I felt like because of COVID-19 this year, I think there was a lot of anticipation and anxiety because we didn't know where everyone was, right? We didn't know what people were voting on, and how people really felt, right? So yeah. So once it started turning, I was like, yo, I fuck with Michigan. The D, yeah, and then it was so ominous. It was so like, I don't know. Like I had been to like 3 of the tested states this summer. So I had been to Pennsylvania because I went to Philly. I had been to Houston because I went to Texas. In Texas, of course, it's Houston. But I went to Houston, and then I had went to Nevada because I went to Las Vegas. So I had been to these 3 cities, and it was just like, whoo, man, oh man. And black people showed up. Black people showed up. Like, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy. I'm not gonna take this tone to because that could be another video of like I'm still on them. You know what I'm saying? Until police start killing black people, I'm on them like white on rice. Day one. Okay. Yep, Corona is the most important right thing on the agenda. What's next? Like we gonna stay on them. And I'm sorry, like I will say this before I get to my bulletin points of different things that I've seen over the election. I don't think black people have a loyalty to just one party. I don't think that serves us going forward. I think we need to be open, need to be versatile, and be able to flip back and forth. I think we need to leverage our vote, and I think it has to be like, what have you done for me lately? What do you have to show me? What do you have for me? And unapologetically saying it like that, right? We've always been made to feel just to be grateful for anything that is thrown our way, and I just think from here on out, we can't take that attitude. We can't just be grateful for anything you throw to us because that's slave mentality. That's how you treated slaves. Period. That's how they treated slaves. So going forward, I feel like if we don't get what we want out of the Democratic Party in the next 4 years, and it's wait for the next 4 years, or don't worry, my second term, I'm gonna get to it. No, we're not. No, we're not waiting to your last term. You're not putting us on the back burner. All of that's not happening. But with that being said, I think the realization of the fact is that if that doesn't happen, and from what I'm seeing in the demographic in the Spanish community, the Republican and the Democratic Party, which are white-based parties, which they make up the other half of the voter constituents. I hope I'm saying right. Voter constituency overall, right? So you have white people who make half, and then you have minorities who kind of make up the other half. Going forward, and that's the case in all. That's the case, like in the parties, right? You have the white base in both of these parties. Now, what puts these parties over the other party is always the minority votes on either of the parties, right? Either we're going to go to Republican or we're going to go the Democratic way, and minorities in general, Spanish people, and if we move collectively, we could pick which party is going to be in power. Now, this is where it gets funny because what this election did teach us is that when it comes to the Spanish vote, it's not monolith. Just like the black vote is not monolith. And which I've always said that to you guys, that, what they feel in Florida is not what they feel in Arizona. That's always different, right? So with that being said, where I feel like we are going to be able to come with leverage is that if we don't get what we want from the Dems, and the Dems make a harder run at the Spanish vote, let's say they gamble and decide, if you look at the numbers, and if we actively decide to pursue the Spanish vote, because that's going to either give us more candidates that we like that are appealing to our white base, we just think, or to our white base, or we just think that we just see more here in the long term with supporting the Spanish community. The black community has to be willing to leverage their vote to Republican Party to get what they want. And that's just going forward. There's no false sense of loyalty. These ain't our kin. Skin folk don't mean kin folk. These aren't our kin. So if you're not getting what we want, yes, we most definitely will have to leverage that vote. And that's the way I see it. All right. So let me immediately what happened. I'm gonna be checking it off. Let me see. The first thing I noticed that they did that I did not like CNN and all these news stations. And like I said, y'all know how much I like CNN. I love Allison in the morning and stuff like that. But I did not like that it seemed like CNN and a lot of other networks had a narrative and had their own agenda during this election in the past month or two. It feels like it feels like an agenda. It feels like, and we're all tired of Trump, but I don't want my news stations to ever take an active role in an election. I just don't. That's not going to work for this country. It doesn't work. We don't like when Fox does it. I'm not going to like it when CNN does. I don't like it when CNN does it. So to have this election and the very first thing that it seemed like not that planned, was like, oh, okay. So if you, all right, let me stop. The reason I'm going in like this, yes, we won the election, right? But what ended up happening is that we either lost some seats or we didn't have as many gains as we thought we were going to have. And so what immediately happened on CNN that day after, it was announced Saturday that Joe Biden was going to be the next president is that CNN and certain other Democratic liberal, you know what I mean, Democratic, liberal, or conservative members like Congressman Clyburn in South Carolina started to come out and say that the progressives is part of the reason why in certain states and certain Senate races and stuff like that we didn't win, because they were talking about defunding the police and they were just really extreme and progressive with their agenda. So he was trying to say, this says that America really wants really wants a conservative, in the middle, balanced type of government. Now, do I think that we want a totally progressive government? No, I don't think we want a totally progressive government. Like I said, I'm a conservative Democrat, but I'm conservative in meaning of how I live my life and um, how I live my life. And when it comes to social issues, I can have a more skewed, a more, stringent, like more type of view on type of things. That's why I call myself a conservative Democrat, right? And there's some, like I said, there's some beliefs and stuff. But do I want them to go totally progressive all the way? No, I don't. But I didn't like what they tried to do, because it seemed like, yeah, help us get it voted in. Yeah, we're all friends. You guys are the wave. That's what it felt like. Telling AOC and the squad, Ayanna Presley, Ian, I gotta find the other woman's name because I don't like not knowing her name. So they're telling the squad that that you're a part of the reasons why we didn't succeed in some states, but you were okay with the vigor, the language, the rhetoric that was being used, in a sense of, because seems like it was winning you votes. I didn't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't make me think you riding with me, and in the last minute you get what you want, you switch up on me. Oh no, we got problems. And it just felt like immediately when I seen Clyburn get on my screen, and he was just like, I believe in Joe Biden and da da da, and that's why I just knew that he was going to be the common force and da 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 da, and started talking about the progressive. I said, whoa, respectfully so, sir. Let these people do their jobs before you come out here like this. I'm just respectfully. And yes, they both have to come out and do their jobs, because at the end of the day, you want to talk about Biden being a great man, and I truly believe he's a great man. I really believe he's a compassionate, a nice, caring man. But you've had 50 years, sir, 50 years in government to do some shit and make some shit happen. So this third time around, you running for president and actually being president, you've been to the inauguration before. You've been to the ball. You know what all of that is about. You did that twice. We're not celebrating. I'm not celebrating until my people in general are feeling better about their place in this country, until we are advancing. And that's just how I feel. Black woman or not. We had Obama, and I made a promise to myself after Obama that it wouldn't be just based on color. And I'm not gonna say that I think it was based on color with him, because I think the best candidate did win. But moving forward, people weren't gonna be able to get that off on me. That's how I feel about that. So Clyburn stayed on my TV for 2 days, and I remember sitting here listening to this, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I respect this man whatsoever. I really do. I know what he's done, and how important he is to our community. But at some point in time, as being older, And we talk about this a lot. Even when when the shit came up with Ice Cube. Oh, you see how they're using you, and you got to be careful. You don't want to be used and stuff like that. The same thing goes for Clyburn. Don't be used by the Democrats because you are that older black statesman within our community, and they just want to push you out in front of us. Let these people do their jobs. Let these people do their jobs, and flowers will be given. But until then, it's just like, okay, 70 more days till showtime. Y'all got that agenda ready? Y'all ready to let us know what's up? What's next? Because we're here. We're attentive. Let me tell you something, y'all. I don't know if y'all noticed, and maybe Kamala didn't tell you that's true, but once you owe niggas, like black people, once you owe us something, you don't want to owe us nothing. You do not want to fucking owe us nothing. We on you. We on you. And Joe, we're on you. Because, let me tell you something. When he did that acceptance speech Saturday, I was pissed. I felt like the acceptance speech, I think I said a little bit this on Instagram. I felt like his acceptance speech should have went like, I am overwhelmed with taking and accepting this nomination, being your president. My heart is filled with joy that you guys believe in me like you do. And I just can't wait to get back to work. I always felt like the next sentence that should have came out was that him telling to the world, because it was a world. That acceptance speech was the world watching. The world is into this race. You get what I'm saying? Was into this election. The world. He should have said, but I'm here to tell the world that black people have voted me in. And I have a duty to tell the world we have a problem in America with protecting our black people. And I'm here to say the buck stops here. That's the type of language I was looking for. Not pussyfooting around it. I'm not going to pussyfoot with neither one of them. I'm not enamored. I'm not overly, I like celebrities. Celebrities are nice. I don't get any validations from it. I'm smart. I don't need them to come around and pat me on my head. Some of y'all looking for little pats on your heads and little, oh, good job, well done. I'm not the girl. I'm not the girl. I already know. I already know. But that's what I wanted from him. I wanted him to tell the world, yes, we have a problem. We have we have to fix our backyard. We have to fix what's going on here with the people that have voted me in. Point blank. That's what I needed from Joe Biden on the acceptance speech night. Oh yeah, black people have been a cornerstone of this community and in the Democratic Party, and I am so thankful that they believe in me. No, that's not what I wanted. We've been believing. We've been waiting. Hey, notice us. Hey, we're still struggling. If you go to Wilmington, the actual bad area is really not that good. We're still struggling. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. Clyburn pissed me off. What they try to do to the progressives pissed me off, and rightfully so. I'm so glad. Let me show y'all a video. I gotta show y'all a video. Let me show you this video real quick. I took this video off of I recorded this video off my phone from the TV, and it was of this black woman. Because as we were, and this is what I didn't like about watching CNN and a lot of the news this week was, it just didn't seem like it was accurately telling the news of what was going on the streets. Like all this week, there was protests, and I didn't understand why CNN did not want to talk about those protests. And this is again a part of I felt like they were trying to, hey, once the election happened and he was voted in, yes, calm down. This is now what we needed. Let's move forward. Not showing that civil unrest that led up to that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like not feeling that I knew what was going on, not knowing what's going on until I looked on YouTube and had to pull up protests and stuff. There was just no reason every hour after hour that they were running the same shit. That's that shit that I hate that happened once Trump got the same shit. You act like y'all seen in MSNBC and Fox, they act like they are so, they can only concentrate on one thing at a time. I feel like as people, they've done a disservice to us by not trying to keep it worldly news as much as possible. Y'all are repeating some of the same shit over and over again. You're bringing some of the same people back up here to say the same shit. Y'all are interviewing the same people over and over again. I didn't want all these same ass interviews. You know what I wanted on Tuesday? You know what I really wanted to see on my screen? I wanted them exit poll interviews out of South Florida. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. Alright, so here goes the first video. Look, I can't flip it. It's not letting me. So, you're gonna have to take it the way I'm giving it to you because it's taking too long for me to flip this shit, but okay. So that's truly why I'm here, is democracy above anything else. Obviously, it feels great to be here with, other Americans who feel just as strongly about Biden's win, but for me, it's about restoring ourselves back to constitutional norms and caring about democracy. All right, here we go. Y'all can hear it. What comes next? What are you hoping to see from this ticket? Well, I hope it'll be a progressive ticket. I hope that he'll be able to pass progressive legislation that will support the people who put him here, especially the black women, the black people who voted for Biden and Harris. We need to see progressive legislation that will directly impact our lives. I'm not hopeful of it because Mitch McConnell is going to be an obstructionist leader in the Senate, and the Senate is certainly not here. Democracy, Biden being a one-term, obviously it feels great to be here with other Americans who feel just as strongly about Biden's win, but for me, it's about restoring ourselves back to constitutional norms and caring about democracy. What comes next? I don't know what's going on in my video. Some bullshit. Alright, so clearly this is not going to work for me. Usually everything works, but alright, we're going to play it. Alright, so I have this video of this lady. She was a black woman. She looked very fair skin, like Kamala's complexion. And she was talking about the election, and she was just talking about how happy she is. So here she goes. That's truly why I'm here, is democracy above anything else. Obviously, it feels great to be here with other Americans who feel just as strongly about Biden's win, but for me, it's about restoring ourselves back to constitutional norms and caring about democracy. What comes next? What are you hoping to see from this ticket? Well, I hope it'll be a progressive ticket. I hope that he'll be able to pass progressive legislation that will support the people who put him here, especially the black women, the black people who voted for Biden and Harris. We need to see progressive legislation that will direct. So basically, she's very in tune and in touch, just like me. She needs to see progressive legislation. She was very aware of who put him in office, and I just think that is very important. That's the voice of the people. That's the voice of the people that CNN and MSNBC are trying to get away from and trying to give us more of a liberal, a demure type of approach to going forward. And I know they want to say calm, but again, until we're not dying in these streets, there is no calm. All right. What else? We already talked about this shit is coming off like propaganda, like they all got together. They're not really reporting on certain shit. They're trying to set a tempo, a tone in this country. And like I said, I'm not looking for media to do that. I'm not looking for Angela and she has no control. That I'm not looking for Dawn Lemon and to set the tone for me when it comes to information. Provide me everything. I will sift through that shit. But you don't get the right to just act like, give us what you want us to know, show us what you want us to show. Again, how do we go from George Floyd and showing all the protests to just totally ignoring the protests the last 2 weeks that was happening in the streets? I didn't like that at all. It felt like it was the setup to not show that, to then show up and just talk about peace. And meanwhile, it's been a lot of civil unrest. Did not like that. Let's talk about Eva Longoria. Girl, ooh, you a slippery one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Eva Longoria was in the news for making some comments about the Spanish vote and how the Spanish vote was really what did Eva say? She was like, it's really the outcome really came about because of the Spanish the Latina woman. Because the Latina woman holds the purse in the household, and the Latina woman makes it happen. Okay, you should have seen Miss Eva Longoria. She was there. She was ready. She was ready to talk to. Yes, the Spanish woman in Arizona, the Mexican, and the South American women, and they came out. They voted the way they were supposed to. You know what I mean? She was just, she was feeling it. She was just like, we were here. You know what I mean? We have nothing to do with this. Now the problem is with Miss Eva Longoria is that the fact is she is most definitely right, but I think a lot of people were trying to make it seem as though she was trying to play the black women vote, and I didn't think that at all. I thought you read the headlines and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, but then when you go back and listen to the vote, she did say Latino women came out. They really came out and voted, and she and her in that moment in that conversation, she was comparing it to the Latina men who came out and how they voted, right? And it came across as though she was talking. It was towards African American women, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't think it was towards African American women. I don't think she was trying to downplay that. But what I will say is, I think I found it really funny. Not funny, but I found it convenient that Miss Eva Longoria was making a play, and I felt like it was a political play. I felt like Eva Longoria was the day, like, afterwards, the election was called, and we realized how many of the Spanish community in states like Arizona and Nevada, wherever there was a Spanish community in outside of Florida and Texas, their votes went to the Democratic Party. And I felt like she was just making a play. It felt like me cutting the line, to be honest with you. That's how I honestly felt, and I'm not holding that back. I felt like Eva Longoria was trying to make a play for Spanish women in the political space to have a voice and to kind of move up in the echelon of where things are going to go and what it may look like in 2024. You know what I mean? Do I think AOC is at the place where she could run for president? No, but I really felt like Eva Longoria was trying to say, notice us, we're up next. And let me tell you, baby, you ain't up next here. Y'all done got past electing an African American person. Let's be completely clear, an African American person. I mean, from top to bottom, inside out, mama, daddy, everything, everything African American. Y'all have gotten away from voting that with voting Kamala and voting Obama. What you're not going to do is whitewash or make the black people who are able to ascend to vice president and presidency. You're not going to make them the palatable ones. You're not going to make them the light-skinned ones in our communities. You're not going to do any of that bullshit. So, yes, that was the real reason why I had a problem with Kamala, because I felt like it was sidestepping an actual, true African-American. That's no diss, no shade. She knows she's not African-American. We've watched TV for the past couple of weeks. They say black. And the reason why they're being specific about their language, because they understand she's not African-American. So, yeah, I did feel like they sidestepped the African-American community. An actual, I don't want to say actual because Kamala is black, Obama is black, but we know what we're talking about. We're talking about palatable black people. We're talking about fair-skinned black people who are always, when it comes to the pecking order of who gets accommodations and who gets treated better, it's always the light-skinned people in our community. That goes without saying. There's a reason why they say, "Oh, okay, your kinfolk must have been in the house, or mine were outside in the field," because that's usually what ends up happening when the darker people were working in the master's house. They usually kind of procreated and slept with master and made light-skinned kids. So you will not make us and make us feel like we're only acceptable in certain high spaces if we look like a Kamala and if we have fair skin also like an Obama. So that was the true reason why I had a problem with it. And I didn't say it in the beginning because I didn't want to seem like I'm trying to make it to us or infighting type of thing. But the reality is we know how that is, especially as a brown-skinned woman as I am, we know the preferential treatment that lighter-skinned women, and Kamala knows. She knows. She knows what sorority she was in. She knows the tradition. She knows what they got in trouble for back in the day. She knows what I'm talking about. Y'all can act like y'all don't want to know. Y'all want to act like I'm having a conversation that, you don't want to have in front of these white folks, but it just is what it is. So when Eva Longoria came out and did that, I was like, look at her. Oh, so sly dog. She is. But I will say, I'm not knocking what she said. I'm not knocking the fact that they have a place at the table. But I've always said in my last video that I did, and I did not post it, I'm going to post it. I said I don't want to come off as a separatism. I don't want to come off as though I'm trying to separate Spanish people and black people. What I am trying to do is advance the thinking of the Democratic Party is that we're not all the same. And I'm not trying. I don't even sound like a broken record because I was saying it before the election happened. We're not all the same. So what I've always tried to say, that message that you have for the Spanish community in South Florida is not the same tactics or the same approach you want to take to maybe the Mexican, the South American community in Texas, right? And in states like Nevada and Arizona. that marketing and that get out and vote plan has to look way different than the vote plan in Florida, right? And that's the same thing for the Black community. So it was just more or less be creative, think outside of just all Dems, all Spanish Dems think this way, all Black Dems think this way, because that's just not the case, and that's why we continue to look like we don't know our party and our base. I mean, at the end of the day, just like Trump and the Republicans play to the the racist part of their party, because that's where the numbers are. Those are going to come out and vote. I just feel like the Democrats got to also play to the numbers and who's going to come out and vote depending on the area. I watched an episode of my favorite show called The Good Fight. I love that show. I'm actually going to watch them tonight. And they did an episode. It wasn't around politics, but it was around micro targeting. And I just think that that's a real thing. That's a reason why it's with the Republicans. I mean, it's not. It's what the Russians did with trying to infiltrate Facebook and stuff like that. In a sense, I mean, granted, in a sense, it's sort of like that. But basically, I'm saying I do want to know in Florida, in South Florida, when it comes to that Venezuelan community that votes Republican. I do want to know who they listen to. I do want to know who they go to, what concerts they go to. I do want to know all of that stuff, because if we're going to engage that community and find out what matters to them, because it's all about, as much as I would like them to care as much about the Mexican kids or the people in Texas and in Nevada coming out. Like, as much as I want Spanish people in Florida to care about that, they're just not, right? I can't blame them. I'm not. I get it, but we just need to be able to address these sets of group of people over here and these sets of group of people over in a way that makes it seem like we know who they are. And right now, we're not addressing it in a way that we know who they are. So yeah, who are you partying with in the Venezuelan community? Who is your radio host? You know what I'm saying? Do we need to call Gloria Estefan? Because we used to call her back in the day to send her out there. Do we need a golf course in your community so you could feel like you don't have to? You know what I'm saying? Like what y'all need? And like I said, and that's, I'm saying South Florida, but it's all every area that can be applied to. Who's your civil rights leaders in your area? Why aren't they on CNN while they keep on interviewing each other? Interview Javier from South Florida, who's working for his people for a better way. Because I want to know what is it that matters to them. That's it. Just be a way more creative about how you and what you give. Different platforms need to acknowledge everybody across the spectrum. And, Angela Wright interviewing, I hate that I keep on saying her name, so I'm not. But some of these people who have great platforms just interviewing some of the same people. That's just, what is that? What is that? What is that? I think good journalism for the past 2 or 3 weeks would have been those same cities that end up flipping. I felt like I didn't get enough testimonials of why people voted the way they voted coming out of the election. I didn't feel like they went away from that, and maybe it could be COVID related. But again, I want that. I want those reactions. I want those reasons why they voted. I said to you guys when I made a video before, maybe I made it on YouTube and maybe I made it on Instagram. That town hall that Trump did, and he was in Florida. I told you I paid attention to who asked questions, what their job was. That's important. That's who that demographic is in that South Florida community that's voting for him. The doctors, the Spanish doctors, the Spanish people who own construction companies that make over $400K a year. You get what I'm saying? They're voting towards their interests. So, the hotel owners, the restaurant owners, because that's not us. That's not Black people. We haven't gotten that capital yet in this country. So yeah, where we would love to just care about Biden wanting to raise taxes because people make over $400K. That's just not our situation. Do you get what I'm saying? But that's their situation. A doctor does make over $400K a year. And maybe she don't, but you combine with her and her husband and stuff like that. Because we talking real talk. People don't really marry down that often. And that's real. So yeah, I do want to know who they voting for and who they listen to and who's their influencers and all that stuff. We do have to infiltrate it like that going forward. Maybe we don't need South Florida. Maybe we don't. The way North Carolina and Pennsylvania came through, can we keep that up? And those decisions will be made. going into the next elections. But the data and the research and all that has to be done before going into the next election. You know, and we see anything else. The rest of the world is happy. They celebrated in other countries. The messages that are coming in are just like the messages that are coming in from other countries is short of, and this is me paraphrasing, oh my God, I can't wait to work with Joe Biden. I can't wait to work with a real president that's smart, that's reasonable. Like the undertones and the messages that has been coming in has been great, 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 great. And we're all happy. We're all happy. Like the rest of the world was looking at us like, oh, y'all don't got it all together. Y'all are very vulnerable. And it is like he exposed us in a way that he's so selfish and so arrogant and such a narcissist that he'll never really understand. He literally, if there was a Manchurian candidate, he will study Trump. He will study Trump. A Manchurian candidate, if you watch the movie, I'm not going to say, he would study Trump to see that everything that Trump was able to get away with and do within our political system, and also in just real life, the taxes and just being elusive and just outsmarting and knowing the system and stuff like that. Everything that he has been doing, a nefarious person is going to study that. He most definitely has been a blueprint to how do I get through? How do I be the American scam? Because that's all he was. He's the American scam artist who made it to the top. This should never, ever be a reason that someone like Donald Trump is ever the president of this country. No, we don't have to be elitist and say you have to have this and have that, because he has everything. He has a college degree. He has the money. He has the influence, the social circles. He has the can't say demeanor because he's always been brass and ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he's had everything. He's had everything, and he was still an awful, 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 awful candidate. He's the definition of when someone tell you who they are, believe him. When we've gotten opportunities to hear about how he behaved on the Apprentice, those comments about grabbing a woman's vagina, like we really knew who he was. The Stormy Daniels, to even pay off Stormy Daniels mean there's something there. Allegedly. All this shit is allegedly. Allegedly. Okay? All this shit is allegedly. Alright. Did we say anything else? Van Jones, stop fucking crying. Van Jones annoyed the fuck out of me. And that's not to say, like, I really be having a hard time. My heart be conflicted about some of the shit and some of the people I bring up. Because I had nothing but I still have nothing but respect for him. But sometimes we don't know what our presence actually means, you know what I mean, to people. And so for me, seeing Van Jones cry about Biden being elected, even though Biden being elected and the things he said made sense, right? It did make sense on why he felt the way he felt, and we all did, you know what I mean? It's a brighter day, the brighter future for our kids and stuff like that to look forward to. I understand that. But this is about knowing who you are in that space. And that's all I'm speaking about. You as a strong black man that I look to, I did not need you crying in that space and on that TV in front of millions of people for Joe Biden. The optics of it was just really wrong. I know what you're saying, and I think a couple more people got up there crying. I think John Lemon got some tears rolling because of the backlash that Van Jones was getting. I think he felt like, okay, let me join my brother because they're getting on this buff. Both Don and Van Jones, stop getting your motherfucking ass on these TVs crying about some of this shit. I'm not saying death is something you can cry about, but some of this shit makes it seem as though y'all are happy in the wrong way. Like I came across and saw, oh, Master's back home. It's gonna be a good time. Like it just seemed like, it just was not okay. It was not okay. All right, y'all. That's all I got on the election. I'm super, super happy. I would tell people going forward to how you stay up on being knowledgeable and just not falling into all this propaganda on these news stations because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot here. These people are most definitely trying to sway your minds to go into certain directions. But what I will say is, do a lot of reading. I do a lot of reading. I grew up, and granted, growing up for me, and that's not because anybody made me. I did more watch. I feel like I've watched more documentaries than I've watched TV, and that's a fact for me. I've watched more documentaries than I watch TV. So that's why even when I listen to like YouTube and stuff like that, I'm more of an informational based type of person. So I really don't be listening and I really don't like the long, just like self indulge shows where it just seems like, okay, are we just going to listen to how King Kong ish, like how you're the best, you're the shit, ain't nobody. Like, I'm not turning in for that. Like, I'm not, like, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm the queen. Like, all that weird shit. I'm going to put that shit in the wine and keep it moving. Like, I'm literally listening for information and filtering out all the rest of the shit. That's all I'm listening for. To be completely honest. But I would tell people like that's your approach you need to take going forward when it comes to your politics and your news. You're going and yeah, as much as I like Don Lemon, as much as I like Anderson Cooper, as much as I like all these personalities, I know how to approach something, close my eyes, and just pick the facts out of it. And that's all I'm looking for. And that's not to say that in listening to just the facts, you don't absorb that person's or people's um thoughts. I know how to just absorb the information and take it in. Just the information, the numbers, and the overall higher meaning of things. All that rest of the shit, I just be like, oh, I'm gonna listen to that. Anyway, y'all keep it bougie, y'all keep it posh, because I will. And if it's your first time here on Instagram, you can follow me at OG_Suge Avery. And then on Twitter, you can follow me at bougie_AF. I think one day I'm gonna like get dressed and put makeup and shit on. It just be very fancy. You fancy, huh? That's a shout out to y'all. Very beautiful women. Everybody looking great and stuff like that. So I may one day bust out something. All right, y'all be blessed. Y'all be black. I'm out.